She's the latest model 747. The Dash 8. Hurtling down the runway for a takeoff. Suddenly, the pilot has to slam on the brakes. Screeching to a halt, they glow red hot. Firefighters scramble, but do nothing. This isn't a disaster in the making, but one of the many tests the latest model 747 will face. If she bursts into flames, she fails. For almost 40 years, the Jumbo was the undisputed queen of the skies. Recently, she's lost that crown to the bigger Airbus A380. And the team at Boeing wants it back. They're going to completely redesign this iconic plane in the world's largest building, the Boeing Mega Factory. After 5 tense minutes, fire crews cool the brakes in the 747's wheels. It's proof she can abort a takeoff safely and let passengers escape. Boeing hopes this will be her only aborted takeoff. The 747-8 is the latest and most technologically advanced version of the company's flagship. She'll be the world's longest airliner, and more importantly, the greenest in her class. Like every Jumbo that graces the skies, she'll be born at Everett, Washington, just north of Seattle. Boeing's Mega Factory is the largest building on the planet. Its doors hold the Guinness World Record for the largest mural. How big? You could fit all of Disneyland inside it and still have room for parking. This is more than just a factory. It's a small city with its own fire department and 7 of America's busiest coffee shops right there on the factory floor.
Alrighty, it's gonna be 207, please.
There's an armada of industrial-strength trikes and bikes to help the employees get around. But it takes most people months to learn the factory layout.
The size was definitely overwhelming.
It was a little hectic. Didn't really know exactly what I was doing or really where I was going.
23 and a half years, and I still get lost in this factory sometimes too.
This cavernous building is so large, clouds have been known to form near the 11-story high ceiling. It's a bewildering jumble of aircraft parts in all shapes and sizes. But there is method beneath the madness. Each jet the company makes here has its own assigned space. This area is reserved for the company's darling, the 747. The first plane ever built here was a 747, the original jumbo jet. She quickly establishes herself as the undisputed queen of the skies. Her dominance goes unchallenged for 40 years. Until in 2007, the Airbus A380 eclipses her in size and capacity. It's a double-decker, seating 550 passengers. The A380 is Airbus's response to the upsurge in air travel over the past decade.
There's really an upturn in the aerospace industry. We're seeing people fly more often, airplanes are full, there's really a lot of demand for new airplanes.
But not just any planes. Airlines are demanding more efficient planes. The A380 fits the bill. But in this environment, the old jumbo doesn't cut it anymore. With soaring fuel costs and concern for the environment, she's become expensive and dirty to fly. But Boeing isn't throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Instead of designing a new plane from the ground up, which could take a decade and billions of dollars, they're going to give a radical makeover to their old favorite. A better and greener jumbo. The Dash 8 will fly faster, travel a third of the way around the world without refueling, and burn a lot cleaner than any 747 before it.
We really think the 747-8 is the right size airplane for the market. Airbus offers, of course, a bigger airplane than the A380. The 747-8 will burn less fuel per seat than the A380. So important decisions for an airline when they're deciding on what type of big airplane they need.
But the A380 is already flying, so Boeing has some catching up to do. Good thing that in the hangar next door, they've got some innovative technology ready to go. This is where they're making the revolutionary carbon fiber Dreamliner, the 787. She'll lend the 747 her innovative wing design and brand new fuel-efficient engines. The new jumbo is even named after her little sister. She'll be the 747-8. She's borrowing from the future, but also from her own 40-year heritage. The 747 story starts in the mid-1960s. The invention of jet aircraft has created an upsurge in air travel. Demand for intercontinental flights is taking off. And one carrier leads the way, Pan Am. By 1965, Pan Am is desperate for bigger and longer-range jets. Its president, Juan Trippe, meets with Boeing's president, William Allen. He asks him to build an aircraft with a range of 5,000 kilometers that'll seat 350 people, twice as many people as any plane before. It's an unprecedented task for Chief Engineer Joe Sutter, known as the father of the 747.
When we had to develop an airplane for 350 passengers instead of 100, how do you do it? And the first thought was to put one airplane on top of another.
40 years before the A380, Joe considers a double-decker.
When my engineers got to work on it and we looked at the troubles with a double-decker, you could list a dozen of them, and that's where they conceived the idea of a wide airplane with two aisles.
Legend has it, Pan Am's Juan Trippe tells Boeing, if you build it, I'll buy it. He signs up for 25 jumbos, worth a total of $3.7 billion in today's money. Boeing accepts the challenge. Small problem. They don't have a factory large enough to make a 747. So in 1966, Boeing begins construction of the biggest mega factory the world has ever seen. Workers start building the original 747 even as the walls of the factory go up around them. They become known as the Incredibles.
The emblem of that was this forester, Paul Bunyan, where I walked around with an axe chopping trees down. Frankly, my engineers didn't go for that hoopla. They had a job to do, they knew what the job was doing, and they just did it.
But incredible they are. They build the first ever 747 from scratch in just 28 months. She rolls out of Boeing's mega factory on September the 30th, 1968. A champagne moment